Hey guys, welcome to Game 4 between OD and Light. It's gonna actually, I'm sorry, yeah, it's gonna be the second 2v2. I guess we're playing the second 2v2 right off the bat. No, I'm sorry, it's a 1v1. They're lifting off the command center. I was confused there for a second. I didn't get a chance to look at who was in Game 4. So it's gonna be Ivy versus Saddist, I believe. So Ivy starting the upper right-hand corner in white as Protoss. Saddist starting the bottom left-hand corner in yellow as Terran. And this should be an interesting map. Wuthering Heights, a very big map. It tends to be somewhat of a Terran-favored map. And it honestly, I feel like vultures are not overpowered, but very, very strong on this match. And special shout out to the Geek of the Week, to Noob Crack. I guess that's the player. No, oh, poor Noob Crack. I still love him. You gotta love that guy. Anyway, bottom left corner, Terran, which, yeah, usually it's, I would say this is a Terran advantage map just because, again, of that vulture pressure. But we'll see what Ivy can pull out. Ivy's no slouch himself. So getting that pylon down initially. The one thing that's kind of nice about it is because you have that secondary, which is, I say it's easy to defend your secondary to get a second base up. It's really hard to secure your third base. Quick scout out, actually. So wanting to make sure he gets that information out in the field. Ivy scouting before he gets his gateway down. I'm not sorry, actually, it's standard scout. Ignore me. Supply depot going up on the opposite end there. So nothing too crazy going on. So Saddist just playing it safe, I would say. Probably going to go for a standard factory build. I think he knows he can win it just off maybe a standard fast expansion to vultures. And just get, flood the vultures across the field, let the cheap units with the mines get it done. We'll see, though. In the meantime, the probe is, wow, scouting the position immediately, going cross position and coming in, scouting. It's going to get the scout right off, so big boon there from Ivy straight off. Pushing in, looks like a little bit of lag here, though. And maybe we'll see if he can steal the gas. He's got that gas open immediately. It looks like Saddist immediately realizing it, though. Able to push off and get it down, though. Barracks going up, so it looks like we are going to see some standard factory action. Fleam a little bit laggy to us here. Gateway in the meantime going up, and gas also going up on the opposite end, because really it's tech that this is very much a tech map, just because of the huge positions. I mean, look at the distance here. This is such a gigantic map. If you can follow my arrow, it's like takes me 2 seconds just to cross it with my arrow at full speed. Actually, let's test that. Since, waiting at the beginning of the game. 1, 2. Yeah, it takes about 2 seconds to scroll across the entirety of the map. Cybernetics core going down the opposite end for Ivy in the meantime. He's starting to go for gas right off. He knows he's in a pretty safe position. Cross map position on a map like this. He doesn't have to worry about it. The X factor in this game is usually this gas. Is who can hold this middle ramp area and deny the other player gas. Siege tanks obviously very good for that. It's a little bit harder for the Protoss player. You can do storm drops across the edge. I think one popular thing for Protoss players on this map is to go quick reavers. Is either go immediately to reavers or go secondary to reavers, and then basically try to do as much harassment as possible while you get your third base. SCV now scouting out, and let's see if it goes to cross position. No, looks like it's going to scout the bottom right hand corner of the base. Cybernetics core is up. I'm not seeing anything being produced, not a single zealot or anything else, which is exactly what I think Ivy needs to do with this situation. Looks like he's going to go for a range upgrade here, though. So probably thinking about getting Dragoons early. Wants to make sure he gets that front door blockade before anything manages to slip in. First factory going down for Saddist here. He's also producing a couple Marines. He's got one Marine on the gap. He's going to produce a second Marine, put it on the gap as well. I would expect maybe 3 Marines, and he might try to do he could push out and while pushing out try to get an additional secondary. But honestly, I think he would just be safer going with kind of the standard expansion, and then again just into a lot of factories. We'll see. Honestly, I'm not a pro, and I'm actually a really bad StarCraft player, so don't take my word for it. Pylon down in the meantime. Gats and first Dragoon out. I'm surprised it's at that position. Looks like it's being drawn back. It's trying to protect the large gap instead of the small gap. So I'm going to assume, and this is interesting because I don't think that SCV has managed to scout yet. It went cross positions, went to the upper left hand corner. So taking the longest scouting route for Saddist, and still hasn't managed to find the base. So now it's going to come to their upper right hand corner. Fortunately, it looks like that Dragoon is starting to push off for Ivy. I'm surprised Ivy doesn't have it just camped in the gap to deny the scout. Looks like range still being upgraded. Now the second Dragoon is blocking the gap, and it looks like 4 Marines on the secondary, machine shop going down. Expect to see siege, and then again probably the push up for the Marines, and then standard expansion. I gotta assume there's a tank being produced right now alongside, and it looks like the Dragoon actually pushing out the field might be able to. Would have actually no. It looks like the front door was opened up there for a second from Ivy, but he manages to pick off the scout before it gets there. Secondary now going up with just 2 Dragoons out in the field. Range upgrade should be finished momentarily. And but Ivy with just 2 Dragoons immediately going to get a second expansion down. He knows that he has, again, that cross position, doesn't have to worry about it. Pylon going down to the secondary. It's very popular these days to create the pylon and get that little Dragoon in there in the slot to deny those vultures. It looks like the second SCV is starting to push out for scouting. Saddist completely in the dark. He doesn't know what he's up against, but he's already got the second command center almost finished. He's going to float it out safe-wise instead of just building it out in the field. Siege Tech also upgrading. He's got the 4 Marines as well as the single tank. It looks like he's starting to float out the barracks for spotting purposes. Probe just kind of hanging outside for Ivy, so I think Ivy's going to try to sneak in a scout to make sure that that secondary is going down. In the meantime, looks like an engineering bay also going down. I'm surprised by this, an engineering bay, so really expecting the the Reavers on this side. Robotics facility is going down, but Saddist really anticipating Reavers here. SCV still out in the middle of the field. Looks like a probe just kind of scouting out, pushing out in the field. A lot of probes kind of wandering around the map. Another 3 Dragoons also wandering. They went to the 3 o'clock position. They're starting to push back. I'm not quite sure what's with that. Maybe trying to catch a scout out in the field once again. Looks like the secondary is almost up here so Saddist actually going to take a slide deck on Mount Cavanch. He's got the secondary up, but a very quick secondary comparatively, I would say, for Ivy. And it looks like that SCV scout still in the upper left-hand corner. There's a probe kind of hiding back there. I guess maybe trying to get an SCV out there to maybe get a sneaky secondary for Saddist. I don't know, or maybe a sneaky Nexus and the SCV scout on the opposite end. And I'm not sure why that SCV is going to that upper left-hand corner. Maybe also to catch a Reaver that might have been coming across that section, kind of a lineup attack. We'll see. 5 Dragoons starting to push up to create some sort of pressure, but there's already 3 tanks on the ground, as well as I'm going to assume a 4th tank underneath this barracks here. Maybe I didn't get to spot it, and 4 Marines alongside. So Saddist does have a secondary running at a pretty good capacity. Neither player has taken their second gas yet. 3 gateways and the observatory going down for Ivy. So Ivy not going for, I guess, going just straight anti-vulture. I'm going to go for more of a Dragoon break, or maybe, we'll see, maybe a contain. And there, yeah, we're seeing the expansion in the dark, upper left-hand corner, an additional Nexus going down for a quick economic advantage. So 3rd base going up the upper left-hand corner. We'll see, just basically he's going to have to rely on Lucky Scout, denying the Scout. I'm surprised he doesn't have the Dragoons up actually in the front of the field. He's bringing them back to his secondary. He needs some more Dragoons basically out in the, I can't, unfortunately, aerials. Sorry about the volume. I really don't have control on my output volume. But 4 tanks in the meantime. And so Saddist playing somewhat defensively. We'll see if he starts getting out. He does have the Academy up, so he might be able to get. I don't see a ComSat going down. Now the ComSat going down. If he can ComSat, get a lucky ComSat off, get that upper left-hand corner, he is going to be able to push out. I don't think that Ivy will really be able to stop him or defend both bases at once. And now probes already being transferred to that upper left-hand base, so really going to play a quick economic game here. I don't see any additional gateways going down or any preemptive anything as far as the economic game, though. Second gas going down for Saddist. He's got that second ComSat station going on, so he's going to have 2, and I'm going to take never mind, the ComSat did go off in that upper left-hand corner. I heard it go off. I'm pretty sure that was spotted out. Dragoon's starting to push up, and now we see some tanks being unsieged by Saddist. I think Saddist is going to try to do an attack run here. He's only got 2 factories up in the meantime, though, but yeah, he is pushing out. He is going to make the attack run. The question is where does he go? Because he can go to... this is the problem for Ivy. He can't defend both bases. Cannot defend both bases. Some Dragoons trying to do a little bit of a contain here, or at least delay the upcoming attack, but not able to do so. Turrets going up, and it looks like just kind of doing a slow push. An SCV is already up at the 6 o'clock location. Looks like he was going to try to take a base there, but really, I got to feel like that upper left-hand base spot. No, actually, just turrets being put up outside the base. No addition. Now some vultures being produced. A decent amount of vultures. I've got to assume that they're both. No, they're not speed upgraded yet, but I got to assume they have the mines upgrade in the meantime. And I don't see the machine shop pushing in the meantime. Another factory going down for Saddist. I'm surprised that Saddist hasn't already got the 2 factories up. I guess wanted to get a few more turrets down just to deal with the Reavers. 4 Dragoons in the middle of the base. So right now I feel like Saddist is kind of letting this game go. And another expansion going down at... I think he ComSatted the upper left-hand base. I could be mistaken on that. Maybe he did not ComSat the upper left-hand base. But another expansion going down at the secondary at the 10 o'clock position. In the meantime, for Ivy, some Vultures going to go in for. Looks like they're going to try to sneak in, but they're not going to get anywhere. There's a lot of Dragoons hanging out in the meantime. Ivy's got looks like 5 gateways, 6 and 7 up on the way. Just going to go for a big Dragoon attack. Now the Vulture's going to sneak through and maybe try to do something here. But there's a pylon blockade, and I'm sorry that Probe hasn't put down that base at the 10 o'clock position. Now it has. It's put down the Nexus. That is going to be scouted out. Pylon going down as well. These 4 Vultures should be able to take this out. I don't see any